Watermelon, welcome. Today we are going to be making a delicious tostada recipe. And first I want to go back and review what we learned last week. Last week we talked about salt. And we learned that how quickly the amount of salt can add up in our diet and how quickly we can get too much salt because we need a little bit of salt every day. But when we get too much salt, it makes our heart and our blood work way too hard to get that salt out of there because our bodies and our hearts don't want extra salt. They just want a little salt. But it's really difficult to be able to control the amount of salt that we eat because there's so much salt in all of the foods that we eat. So at Food Literacy Center, we really encourage cooking from scratch because this is the most important way that you can control the amount of salt in your diet. You can also control things like the kinds of fat that you're eating. You can control things like the amount of sugar and the amount of fiber and the amount of fruits and vegetables. So today we are going to make something homemade that you might otherwise get at a restaurant. And it's really important to understand that when you're eating things like fast food and even the pre-made foods that you find in jars and sauces in restaurants, in grocery stores, you often are going to get a little bit more salt and sugar than you might if you were making them at home from scratch. So when you cook at home, you can control all of those things. So today we're gonna make a delicious veggie tostada, and I'm gonna show you how to make all of the ingredients, and the recipes are on our website along with the lesson plan and everything else at foodliteracycenter.org/curriculum. And this recipe actually has several recipes that we put together, and together we will make this veggie tostada. So the first item in our recipe is this brown rice that we made with canned tomato sauce. And again, you can find versions that have lower sodium, and so you get less salt when you're making that. You can control the amount of salt. We did not add salt to our recipe, so we're controlling that. So then we add in some black beans, and later we will have a video and a demonstration on how to make beans homemade from using dried beans instead of canned. That's another way you can control the amount of salt in your diet. And then we also added fresh corn, and I also put a little bit of green onion on mine. So I made my brown rice last night, and it's all ready to go today for my veggie tostada. And that's the nice thing about this recipe, is that all of these parts and pieces can be eaten separately on their own together. You can make other things. Last night I made a burrito with my brown rice. So one other item that we have is our pickled onions, and these you definitely need to make in advance because you want to leave them overnight in your refrigerator. And all we did was take a red onion and we chopped it up, and then we put it in a jar with lime juice, about half lime juice and half hot water. You could also use white vinegar, and then you put it in your fridge overnight, and look, it turns this beautiful pink and purple color, and they taste phenomenal. So we're gonna use those in a little bit in our recipe, but we're gonna have tons of leftovers, and you can put those on sandwiches and salads and tacos all week long. So the next thing that we're gonna make is our cabbage jalapeno slaw. And again, you can find the recipe at foodliteracycenter.org/curriculum. So we are going to learn how to shred cabbage. That sounds like a really fun thing to do. So I'm going to take my cabbage. I'm going to use green. I'm going to use a combination of green and purple. And this is also a really budget-friendly recipe. Our cabbage, you can get a whole giant head of cabbage for less than $2. So this is an extremely budget-friendly recipe. So what you're going to do, and kids, I recommend that you use one of these knives, but adults, feel free to play along with your Big Chef knife. So I'm going to take my cabbage using my tunnel, and I'm just going to cut a big old chunk of it, about a quarter of a head of cabbage. And now the shredding part. So you see how we've got these nice, beautiful layers. When you set this down on your cutting board, we're going to make thin strips. We're going to use our claw, and we're just going to thinly slice it into, slices like this. So you get these nice thin sort of slaw-like slices. That's called shredding. And it's really fast and easy and fun thing to do. So we're gonna shred all of this. So quick. All of these items are really quick to make. For example, the rice, you drop all the items into a pot, you bring it to a boil, you let your rice cook, you stir in the beans and the corn. So simple. There's a lot of stirring and a lot of chopping when you cook from scratch and when you cook with vegetables. But I think that's the fun part. So I'm going to take my cabbage and I'm going to put it all into my bowl. So I've got shredded cabbage. So easy, so affordable, and nice and crunchy and delicious. So I've got 2 cups, about 1/4 of a head of cabbage, depending on the size of the head that you have. So I've got about 2 cups of green, and now I'm going to add about 2 cups of purple, because I like to keep it colorful and fun. But if you just have purple, you could just use purple. If you just have green, just use green. Whatever makes you happy makes me happy. You're the cook. So then we are going to add also a cup of cilantro chopped. I already chopped mine. I might have chopped a little more than a cup because I really like cilantro. So then we've got our cilantro in there. Now we need a bit of jalapeno. One tip is that sometimes the jalapenos can be a bit hot and spicy, and they will make your fingertips hot and spicy, and then if you touch your eyes or your nose or even your lips later, they can burn. So you want to be careful and wear gloves when you are chopping things like jalapenos. So it calls for 1 jalapeno. I might have put more than 1 jalapeno because I really like them. Again, you're the cook, and you can't ruin the recipe. If you don't like jalapenos at all, leave them out. If you don't like cilantro at all, leave it out. That's the great thing about this recipe. It will still taste delicious, and you can adapt some of the ingredients that you're using. And if you're really only into one type of cabbage, use that one. Okay, so then we're gonna add a 1/4 cup of sour cream. I already have my sour cream right here. And this is another great little tool that kids can use. It's a little spatula to scoop all that out. So just dumping everything right into the same bowl, keeping it easy. So then I need some lime juice, another one of my favorites. And I'm going to use my yellow lime. It's called a bear's lime. I have a tree and I grow these, and they're really juicy. Another fun tip is when you are cutting your lime, if you roll it before you cut it, you're gonna free up all those juices, and you'll physically feel it get limber and loose in there. Becomes a little bit softer, and that will help you when you go to juice it. It will get, you'll get a lot more juice out. So remember our citrus juicer that we learned about in our kids' skill set on kids cooking tools. So then we place it in, not the way it looks like it should go, but the opposite land way, and then whoosh, pour all that good juice right in there. I'm going to use juice from a whole lime because I really like lime juice, and I'm the cook, so I'm going to add extra. You could also use white vinegar if you don't have limes. You could use lemon if you have lemon. You could really switch that up. And then we also need some spices, which I pre-measured. We've got a bit of oregano, some garlic powder, black pepper. So I'm gonna put all of those in there. And now another super fun tool are our tongs. Gotta get them out of here. And this is a great thing that kids love to do. You just get in there and play until everything gets mixed up, and it takes a little while. So you can take turns and everybody gets to mix to the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, and then someone else takes a turn. 1, 2, 3, and then someone else takes a turn, and you just keep doing that until you get everything mixed up real nice and yummy. Look how pretty it is as the purple combines with the green, and you got the darker green of the cilantro. I can smell the citrus is hitting me in the nose. Oh my goodness, it looks gorgeous. And it's crunchy. You can hear it as we're stirring it, how crisp and crunchy it is. And again, we did not add salt to this. You may put a little pinch of that in if you need that, but it doesn't need it because it's got so much other flavor already. And the sour cream does have some salt already as well, so we really don't need a lot of extra. And that's the beauty of cooking from scratch, right? We can control everything that goes into our recipe. So now our coleslaw is ready, which means we get to assemble our tostada. So quick and easy. I love this recipe. So we are going to take one tostada and place it on our plate. I'm going to set my slaw aside until I need it. We are going to use a 1/4 cup of our beautiful brown rice. And again, I put some green onion in mine. We're going to take a 1/4 cup and put that on top of our tostada. I have kind of a big tostada. You guys probably have, if you have the round kind, so I'm gonna put a little bit extra, because I have an extra large one. And, whoops. Then we're going to put our slaw, a little bit of the coleslaw there. I'm going to put plenty on. And look at how gorgeous it is already. It's a beautiful meal. It looks like you went to a fancy restaurant to get it, and you made it all from scratch right at home in your own kitchen. I'm going to get a few of my pickled onions. Look at how beautiful they are. They're purple and bright. It's such a fun dish. I need more because I love pickled onions. Now we have our pickled onion, and if you have some cotija cheese or some hot sauce, that's also fantastic to sprinkle on top. Or if you're a sucker for cilantro like me, you might want to add another pop of cilantro. Again, using our fingers because that's a fun and easy way to chop our cilantro. And we have a veggie tostada. See how quickly we made lunch? I'm getting hungry. I don't know about you. But again, when we cook from scratch, we can make everything at an affordable price, and we can control all of the fat, the fiber. Look at all of this coleslaw. We talked about the fact that fiber helps make you feel full and then also helps to clean out your stomach. So we've got a ton of great fiber, a lot of flavor, and I can't wait to dig in. Pickled onion for the win. Thank you for joining me. I hope you will tune in later this week. We'll be showing you how to make dried beans into a beautiful pot of beans, which you could use for this recipe or any other recipe. Thank you for cooking with us at Food Literacy Center. Find curriculum and please donate at foodliteracycenter.org/curriculum. Have a watermelon wonderful day.